Let's see if we can do these by hand. And we'll use a calculator if we have to. We can do that certainly to check. So we're going to subtract fractions. Now, when we get into our algebra book, which we will in a couple weeks, there are videos embedded in the book, in the lessons. So even if I teach a lesson, I'll do a video of my lesson, but you can go back and look at the videos that are right on your iPad. And it's on your iPad, so you don't even need wireless to do that. Well, I don't think. I'm not sure now that I think about it. Don't quote me on that. Okay, well, subtracting fractions is just like adding fractions. We have to have common denominators. So I'm going to have to figure out what 8 and 12 go into. So what do 8 and 12 go into evenly?
His friend, so, you know, I don't know.
Sorry to interrupt, is Bruce B?
Yes, he was going to.
Okay, and the other one is Sophia Trinholm?
Oh, she's in 1400.
1400, okay.
Yeah, we have to get that fixed.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, and the videos are kind of funny to watch because all these other things get recorded, like right now. Well, what will 8 and 12 divide into? I could do 8 times 12, but that's 96. Is there a smaller number? And if you don't know, we can write out numbers that 8 will divide into, like 8. What's the next number 8 divides into? 16, right? Does 8 go into 16? How many times? Twice. What's the next one? 24. Then we can do the same thing with 12. What's the next number 12 divides into evenly? 24. You could, using the calculator, do the least common multiple, and you type it in. You'll have to get that menu, and I can show you again, 8 and 12, and that will get you the 24. So I want to change these to 24. And remember, when we did that lesson about changing fractions, I want this to be 24. Oh, that's kind of cool. Okay. 12 times what gives you 24? George? We're going to change our fractions. 12 times what is 24? No? 2. Okay, and when you do 7 times 2, what's that going to give me? 14, right? And there's a minus sign there. Okay, how about the 8s, Josh? 8 times what is 24? Good. 8 times 3. So 5 times 3 is 15. And then all you do is subtract the numerators. Adding, subtracting is the hardest thing you can do with fractions, especially when we have to borrow. This is not going to be borrow. Oh, might be borrowing. Okay, so what happens when I subtract these? 15 minus 14 is what? I have $15, but I'm going to give you 14. How much will I have left? 1 out of 24. When in doubt, always think of money. Yeah, we started these yesterday, didn't we? We didn't finish them. So let's use the I'm going to use the calculator. I have to bring it up. I'll have to get it back here. You have a calculator, and so all we have to figure out what 20 and 16 divide into. And now we're getting into bigger numbers. Now this should work on any Inspire calculator. I have to do it this way, unfortunately. I don't know why, but I do. So if you would like to help yourself to a calculator, go ahead. Pick out the one. You should always get it yourself, because then, and then I'm going to do this, maybe. Okay. I don't know why it comes up with that. Okay. I always start with a clean slate here. I was going to help you with that. Okay, and we'll take it slow. What was it? 20 and 16. Now, I know my numbers, so I already know what number that goes into. Does anybody know? I think we started this yesterday, but we didn't finish it. What do 20 and 16 divide into? So you don't know, do you? It's okay, it's a big number, but it's less than 100. Is everybody ready? And if the batteries die, just get a new one, but give me the ones with the dead batteries. Now, I always want to go to a new document, and we're never going to save the old one. This is to help us, because I want you to understand how to add fractions. It's nice if you know the numbers, not what they multiply by to get that big. But you know what? I have a calculator that does it. So when you press the house key, I want to go to a new document. Scratchpad is just for scratch work, and I guess this would be Scratchpad, but I don't know. I know that not everything over here works on that. I know that. Now, what I'm doing today probably works on Scratchpad, but I like to put it in a document and then I just throw it away. So either I can arrow over to new document and I press enter, and I don't have anything on mine, but yours will say, do you want to save? And you say no. Because if you do save it, then you have to save it. You have to give it a name. It's a computer, Kendra.
Mine's in like Chinese or something.
That's possible. It is. Okay. And please don't change the languages. I can fix it. It'll take me a second to fix it. So I'll give you a different one. It could be my calculus kid that did that. I do have a Chinese student in second hour. Okay. But he's got his own, so I don't think he did it. We are going to add a calculator. When we do the graphs, that's really cool because they're in color on this. And I have mine too. Okay, and I want the least common denominator. And yesterday I found out common denominators didn't work very well for me on this. So I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to do least common multiple. Do you remember where I found that? Found it in menu. Depending on what you choose, if you want a graph or if you want a calculator, this menu changes. And you guys all probably have remotes for TVs at home, and they all have a menu on them. And you have to play with that. And we're just going to do some number stuff. So even on a non-CAS, calculator should work. I'm going to press 2. You could arrow down and press enter. Now, I want to use my fraction tools. You guys find fraction tools? So I'm going to go down to 7. I type 7. I could even cheat here and press it here. Not fair, is it? But if this comes out on an iPad, you would be doing exactly the same thing, just touching the screen over here. And it's coming out in December. Okay. Oh, we decided we didn't want to do that. So how do I get out of trouble? I'm going to escape to get out of trouble. I actually want least common multiple. I want this one. And then you put in 20 and 16. I have to find out how to do that other one because it should be right, but I've never gotten it to work. And then I'm going to put in 16. Does anybody know what the answer is? What they go, whoops. So I'm going to go back and delete that 6. I know what it is. Anybody else know what it is? I'm going to bet it's 80. And there you go. Did you find it? Josh, did you find it okay? So raise your hand if you have problems with it. Now, if I don't know how many times 20 goes in, or 16 goes into 80, I will do 80 divided by 16. What you're learning here is how the operations are connected. When you're talking about a multiple, I need to know how many times 16 goes into 80, so I'm going to divide it, so it's 5. Okay, so let's do that problem. And I'm going to leave you to do the other one. Oh, we forgot to do that one too, 15 and 25. 7/20. I'm going to let you guys do these, but let's just get set up. And they both go into 80. And remember, I just checked this out. This is times 5, so that's times 5. How many times does 20 go into 80? That's easier. Gabe, do you know? How many times does 20 go into 80? Bigger? 4. So times 4. Okay, so I'm going to give you some time to work on these. You can get this one set up, and in the real world, I would be working with fourths and eighths because that's what we measure with. In the United States, still stays with the old units. If they went to metric, life would be so much easier. But we don't. And all my cooking is in fractions, and it's in fourths and eighths and sometimes thirds. Never am I going to be doing 20ths and 16ths. Oh, okay, maybe 16ths. Does anybody work on cars? Nobody works on cars at all? You'll get wrenches to the 16th. You'll have to deal with that. But anyway, I should bring in my wrenches and you can read all the fractions that are on there. Yes, I have wrenches. I need a tool belt for Christmas. I don't think I'm funny. Okay, so let's do this one, especially when I'm doing these mixed numbers. I want to line them up vertically. Okay, this is the hardest thing we have to do, honestly. First off, I'm going to keep the mixed numbers as mixed numbers. I'm going to leave the 12 and the 2 there, and now I'm going to get the common denominators. What do 8 and 4 divide into evenly? That's what goes into them. What do they go into? Chelsea, do you know? Okay, 16 works. Anybody know a smaller one? 8. It doesn't matter. You can do 16s, you can do 8s. I'm going to do 8s because that's easier. Now, it gets complicated looking. I know. So 8 and 8, those match. So I'm going to multiply by 1. So I'm going to multiply this by 1, and I'm going to get 7. Now, 4 times what gives me 8? 2. Okay, Gabe, we got this? Here's the problem. This is a sad situation. If I don't have these whole numbers here, how am I going to subtract 7/8 from 6/8? Okay, so I want you to think here. If I didn't have the whole numbers here, if I didn't have these guys, I couldn't do the problem. Can't take 7 from 6. So what I'm going to do is take one of these pies, which will leave me 11, and I'm going to divide it up into the same number of pieces as that. So I have, right now, I have 6/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I'm going to take this other pie that I just took away from the 12 whole pies. I'm going to divide it up into 8 parts, and I'm going to combine all those pieces together. How many parts make this whole pie? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8/8. And you have 6 over here. How many 8s is that altogether? Count them up. How many altogether? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I'm going to borrow 1. I'm going to put it right there. And remember how to change that to a mixed number, improper fraction? You go 1 times 8 plus 6. I did it visually, though. So that's 14 parts out of 8. Now can I subtract? There are other ways to think about it as I sit and think about it. But this is the way I've always done it. So it's 9. 14 minus 7 is 7/8. You could say I could subtract 7/8 from 6/8. Well, I've used up 6 of them. I still need another 8th. So I'm going to take another 1/8 away from that. So that will leave me 7 out of 8. I think that may be harder to think of it. So let's see what we got next. We're not doing that. That's ugly. Well, I think I'm out of this slide. But now I'm pretty sure there's more on yours. So I think there's some practice problems here with subtracting. If not, I probably have a worksheet. There we go. I don't know why I don't have it on here. Okay, so let's do fractions and money. I don't know why mine's not there, but that's okay. I'll just write it down. So we're going to add these. You know, I don't care about the law. You guys will figure out the money part. Plus 5 and 9/10. This is adding. Now you need to do this with me, not just watch, because you're going to turn this packet in. I'll have to get my slides fixed for tomorrow. So we're going to have some practice with this. So we're going to do this page and the next couple pages, and we'll stop with the multiply. We'll just quiz on this. Maybe it'll be Thursday. We'll see. Okay, I want to add these up. Now, when I add, I can go ahead and add my whole numbers. It's fine. This is 8. And what do 4 and 10 go into? That's what goes into them. What do they go into? When in doubt, multiply these two numbers together. It's not too bad. 4 and 10 go into 40, right? Because 4 times 10 is 40. Okay, Gabe? You want to do 10 or you want to do, is there something small? Well, let's do, 10. Let's do 40. There is a smaller one, but no, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of tired today, so I don't want to think too hard. Okay, how do you get to 40? 10 times what? 4. That gives me 36. What about this one? 4 times what? 10. Okay, George? Now, we're not subtracting, we're adding. How many do I get when I add 10 and 36? I get 46. There really is a plus sign in here, even though you may not think of it. You don't see it, but it's there. And you know what happens? That's an improper fraction. I'll show you how to use the calculator as well. Remember what happens? The top is bigger than the denominator, so the 46/40ths falls over. You could reduce it, but it probably just is easy to do it in this form. So 40 into 46, because the fraction will be easier to reduce. How many times does 40 go into 46? Once. So it's 40. You subtract and you get what? 6. Remember what we do with that? It's 6 out of 40. Now, can I reduce that? Well, I'm going to write this down here. I've got 8 plus this one, which is 1 plus 6/40ths. Can I add the 8 and 1? If I go too fast, let me know. Can I add 8 and 1? Sure, why not? Says to. Math always tells me what to do. What about 6 and 40? They're both even, so what do you want to divide by? 2. I heard somebody say 2. So half of 6 is 3. Half of 40 is 20. Can I do my calculator? Yes. Let's do the whole problem on the calculator, except I have to write, oh no, I can look over somebody's packet. So, because you're going to see something interesting. At least I think it's interesting. Now, the only problem with, and I'm going to get a new page, the only problem with using a calculator is if we get dependent on it, then you have to have the calculator. So I'm going to do a control, I'm going to add a page to this plus page. Now on the gray ones, I'm not quite sure where it is, to be honest. I just want to clean it up for you. Okay, what were the fractions? They were 3 and 1/4. The way you have to add it is this. 3 plus, and then if you want it in fraction form, these little squares here, it's a square with a bar and a square. 1, because I think it looks nice. It's pretty. Plus, and if you don't want to do that nicely, we don't have to, plus 9 divided by 10. So what I like about this is you start realizing those are plus signs. When I say 3 and 1/4, it's 3 plus a fourth. It's going to give me an improper fraction. I don't want an improper fraction. I want a mixed number, because maybe I'm cooking. And that means nothing to me. So I'm going to go up here, and I'm not sure if I'm going to do this in the right order, so I'm going to press enter, and then, maybe not. I'm going to press menu, but I'll find out. And if you go under number, to our fraction tools, that's this one, 7. I want to get a proper fraction. Yeah, I didn't like that. Okay, now I have to put the 183/20 in there. I could have copied it in there. Now I got to fix my problem. So I'm going to have to go back over here and delete my fraction. Now I'm all set. 9 3/20. Is that what I got? 9 3/20. Great, I did it right. Why is all that stuff coming up? No. weird. Okay, so you have, oh, we have to do another one. And then we'll probably call it a day because I think we're going to be out of time. So let's do 4 3/10 minus 1 3/4. You guys want to try that? You have to borrow. So you're going to have to keep the 4 there and the 1 there. Could you change them to improper fractions? Sure. That's another strategy. What do 10 and 4 go into? Oh, we just did something like this, didn't we? Not the same one, is it? Close, but it's not the same. What number do they go into? Smaller. 4 times 10. You're right, 60 works. But I don't want to get any bigger than 40. But we also know that what? Do they go into 20? Let's do 40s. Okay. Change your denominators. Evan, what am I going to multiply this one by? 4 times what? 4 times 10 gives me 40, right? Why am I teaching this? Because conceptually, we got to get this for our algebra class. Because otherwise, I just give you calculators. So it's times 10, because I'm going to multiply the denominator by 10 and the numerator. So that's 30. What about this one? Is it CJ? 10, 4. Good. And this is the worst scenario I can get into. I can't take 30 from 12. So we have to borrow. So I'm going to borrow 1 from the 4. That makes 3 whole pies. And I'm going to put it right here. Do you remember how to change that to an improper fraction? You go 1 times 40 plus the 12. So it's 1 times 40 plus 12. So it's 40 plus 12, which is what? 52. So it's 52 40ths. Now I can ignore the, I had to borrow from them. That's why you couldn't subtract them right away. Okay, now we can subtract. As long as 30 comes away from 52, what do I get? 2 minus 0 is 2. 5 minus 3 is 2 40ths. And 3 minus 1 is 2. I don't know what my calculator is going to do. Well, we're going to do this on the calculator too. Can I reduce that? Yeah, what goes into it? I know I got one person here that's with me and who gets it. So it's 2 and what's half of 22? Close. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 2 once. And half of 40 is? Well, what's half of 4? 2. Half of 0 is nothing. So it's 2 and 11 20ths. I can't read that. Let me write that again. Okay, I'm going to bring up my calculator. And we're going to put in the problem as written, maybe. I'm going to go to a new page so it's clean. You don't have to. Sorry. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So if you use the calculator, though, you're going to have to be able to see what happens here. Oh, yeah, she's going to need one, too. Okay, so I'm going to go to a new page, and let's just type it in. Calculator. Oh, 1. Silly me. Okay, now I'm getting my hand out here. So it's 4 plus 3/10. Oh, okay, calculators are wonderful, but you've got a little problem here. It's 4 plus 3/10. Then we are going to subtract 1 3/4. I'm going to need parentheses. I'm not just subtracting 1, I'm subtracting the 3/4 as well. Normally when you write 1 3/4, it combines them, but this isn't going to do that. So here's a problem with the calculator. You have to really understand what you're doing. Now, I believe that'll give me everything reduced, but I don't know if I'm going to get I didn't get a mixed number. So guess what? I got to change that. So I'm going to take my menu button. I'm going to press 2 for number. And I want my fraction tools. And I want a proper fraction. And I want 51 divided by 20. Oh, I could have copied that. Whatever. 2 and 11/20. I'm going to take a picture because I can. And then this is, oh, now it'll work. And then here I go in here. No. Well, I got 2 and 11/20. So you can do that, and if you want to start on the next page, you have some more problems with subtracting and borrowing. I expect you to find this hard. I expect everybody to find it hard.